Just really proud of the group, the way we battled throughout the game and overcame some adversity throughout. A couple of unfavorable field positions. Our defense settled in really nicely, and offensively just made plays when we needed to. Trying to find that balance attack, and I thought the Bucs did a great job of limiting our effect in the run game, but it was enough to kind of create some other opportunities for us. And then a good day, 50% on third down. A good day for the group, making some plays there, and just really proud of the way that we just keep going back to work, and that's what we're looking forward to this week as well.
All right, we'll kick things off with David Newton, followed by Scott Fowler.
Hey, Coach, good to see you today. A few questions about Seattle and specifically Pete Carroll. This is a big game against them this week. How did Pete and that culture that you had there, what sort of influence did that have on your career?
It was incredible. I'm very grateful to have spent as much time as I did with Coach Carroll in a bunch of different roles, but 1 year at USC and then 13 years in the NFL to watch Coach build a program around belief, around the principles that still carry with me today here for the Panthers. The things that he cared about is what he wanted us to focus on as a staff. Where we all have different styles and different personalities, it's what's at the core, taking care of the ball, the run game, toughness, all of our play style, the things we talk about. And it was such a consistent message from Coach over the years. And as our team changed, as our young players started to own our play style and philosophy, that's when it became really powerful, when it was the locker room and it was an expectation from the players, and he served as the reminder of who we are, the reminder of the philosophy. And so I try to emulate that as much as possible in my own way.
And I know you talked a lot to him last year. This year he's been a little busier with the Raiders. What did he do last year that said to you last year that maybe helped you through any tough time you were going through, maybe with Bryce and the quarterback situation? What was the biggest help he provided last year?
Just the constant reminders to believe, the constant reminders to prove to the guys what we can do when we play really good football. And that message has stayed consistent, and especially in those times, last year, right in the middle of the season, trying to find wins, and also like knowing how to celebrate the victories, when they came, and also point the group to where we're headed and what we're going for. So keeping the vision alive of what we're becoming. Those are some of the most critical things, I think, from last year. And the other thing too, just to mention, John Schneider, the general manager of the Seattle Seahawks, was a part of building that whole thing together as well, and had a huge influence on me, just in terms of how he sees the game and the type of players to look for, and all those things. It was really amazing 1-2 punch that created that culture there and the success we had.
And the last one, whose energy is higher, yours or his? Because I know you're both pretty high energy guys.
Oh, definitely Pete. He's like that every day at practice, and he's the first one out there throwing the ball around, running routes, chasing things down in special teams. That kind of energy is infectious, and the part where he really shines too is just creating culture and environment in the building, and the sense of competition, and having competitions happen in team meetings and in different settings, but always trying to push the staff to find an edge to make this. He's like, guys, if we're going to do this and work so hard, let's at least make it fun. And just really adding a lot of color to what we do so that no day felt mundane. There was always something exciting to look forward to in those meetings. And, he would throw little curveballs in there and, invite special guests sometimes to come in and share moments with us. And we always appreciated that because it never got stale. It was always fun. It was always exciting.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hi, Dave. Congratulations on your win. And this is a new question to ask you because we haven't asked you these questions in this position before. But on Sunday, you need a very particular result for it to matter, really. You win, Tampa Bay loses. So I wonder, first of all, will you keep an eye on the Tampa Bay score throughout the game?
I will not. We can't approach it that way. We have to make sure, especially for us, I appreciate the question, but as we're trying to create consistency in our product of what we do on the field, game in and game out, that's what we're after, and that's what's out there for us to find our best football. We have to approach it that way, and we have to make sure that we approach this game plan that way as the game continues to go however it goes, it's like I'm trying to win this down. I'm trying to win this series right here, and we all have to be locked in there. We can't afford to do that in the place that we're in collectively as a team. We have to continue to find consistent football.
I appreciate that. And one other thing related to that, and that is you have to prepare for all outcomes, good and bad. So if you're down by 3 scores, say in the fourth quarter, ultimately the Seattle game's pretty meaningless for you, no matter what's happening in Tampa Bay. Would you at that point consider sitting starters a little earlier, knowing you have to beat the Bucs in the finale?
I don't envision us doing that. That's a conversation that Dan and I have to have philosophically about how we're approaching this. But again, I think it kind of goes back to answering it the same way. All of these reps are so valuable. Every series, as we continue to grow together as a team, every series matters as we're trying to develop our schemes and our concepts and make sure that we go into each week with that, and then so that we can learn the lessons, so that we can take the next step when the Bucs week comes on. But all of our focus has to be right here, right now on the Seahawks.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go with Joe Person, followed by Jeff Hawkins.
Dave, probably hard for you to be objective about this, I would think, but wondered what you would say about T-Mac's case for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I certainly think he's made enough of an impact to be in the conversation. Obviously, the individual goals, the individual things come with success of a team. And I think T-Mac would see it the same way. It's all of us. It's the offensive line blocking, Bryce delivering the throws, the defense playing well. All those things tie in. And when you win, people get accolades, And so our goal should always be the group effort, and all those other things, all the other recognition will come along with that.
And then wondered if you had any update on opening up Rob's 21-day window.
Yeah, we're really excited. He's making progress. That's a real possibility for this week to see if we can get him out there in a capacity to do some individual drills, to start leaning on people. He's worked his way into that area, and I know we've been talking about this for weeks, and that's something that we're really excited about potentially doing this week. We're not 100% sure, but we're going to have to make that decision here in the next couple days.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning.
Hey, I also had a question on award season. Do you think Bryce is the most improved player in the league?
I don't know that. You'd have to kind of look across the league. But what I know is I'm just really proud of the progress that he's taking and the type of football that he's been playing. Just really consistently leading us and making sure that we can push our things forward. And for the last 2 weeks, I just saw a guy who's been competing for his teammates, trying to find ways to win. I've been really proud of the way that he's done that and led the group and given us an opportunity really in both games to come out with the win.
And he guided the team to a big win yesterday, despite a running game, with his 2 explosive throws yesterday and going back to the 2, fourth down throws against the Rams. Are you getting more comfortable with calling for more throws outside of the numbers?
Absolutely, and that's something that we've grown into, and some of the aggressive nature that we've had this year on fourth down is because of Bryce's ability to execute the plays and to trust his guys to make plays for him. But I love putting him in those positions because he just consistently makes the right decisions.
And just one more. Leggett had one bad drop, and he seemed to lose awareness on the sideline in completion. With Moore getting healthy, is he in jeopardy of losing some of his starting snaps?
No, he's not. X is a guy that I love. He works his tail off. He would love to have those plays back. I'm sure he'd be up here telling you that for sure. He's a guy we're going to continue to trust that he's going to work through this. In this one game, he didn't come up with the opportunities that he had, but I trust he'll get right back to work. He'll be a part of our game plan this week as well.
Thanks and good luck.
Yep. Thank you.
We have time for a few more. We'll go with Alex Zitlow, followed by Cass.
Hey, Dave. So yesterday when we were asking about Bryce Young's ankle, you said that you didn't exactly know what happened on the play that looked like Austin Corbett stepped on his foot. Did you get a chance to look at it in film, and what happened from your perspective?
Yeah, just the timing of it. We were a little tight there. You can't drop step when you're on offensive line. In those situations, you got to be firm at the line of scrimmage. And then, I think also Bryce just coming away from center on some of the play actions, can get a little bit more depth on the first step. So it's a little bit of a combination of both things, but it's something we certainly can't have. And it really just starts up front by neutralizing the line of scrimmage so we get the play started.
Is Bryce's ankle good to go? Planning on full practicing this week?
Yeah, that's the plan right now.
And then finally, how close was Icky to playing on Sunday? And anything you can say about Josh Nijman's day would be great too.
Yeah, Icky was really close. We just didn't feel fully confident that he could execute all the parts of his job. With his inside leg having the injury and knowing he's going to have to post on that leg, versus a power rush, they were a power rushing team. And then just, any type of situation that could come up in the run game, where he might get rolled up on it. We just didn't feel fully confident that he would be able to do his job at his highest level. I feel confident that he'll be able to do that this week, but we have to go put him through his paces and make sure that, he feels great and ready to go. I thought Josh did an excellent job for us. He was solid in the run game, covering people up. In the pass game, he gave us enough time. They got a couple edges on him, but for the most part, he gave us a chance to play winning football. I'm really proud of Josh and the way he stepped in.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Hey Dave, how's it going?
Hey, Cass.
I know that understanding that you added a bunch of pieces on defense this year, now that you're kind of towards the end of the season and you kind of compare a little bit last year versus this year, how much has having DB back just made a difference for everybody on that side of the ball?
It's huge, not just from a production standpoint and the plays that he makes, but just the mentality and the way that he works, the way that he's so consistent with his effort and strain of plays. A beautiful picture of it just, last week against the Saints on a screenplay that could have gotten a lot more yards. He's coming out the stack, making big hits, and he affects everybody and across the line to have that kind of effort on a play in and play out basis. Just an incredible leader to have and has been a huge impact on our group.
And then just one more real quick. Next Gen had a cool stat this morning that JC was not targeted once on 29 coverage snaps. I guess the DPI negates that play counting. But just as somebody who creates offensive game plans, like how easy/feasible is it to completely avoid a corner for an entire game?
It's very challenging, and sometimes you're looking for the next best opportunity to try to take your targets, but there's certain looks where the ball's got to go there, and I'm going to ask my guys, at least speaking for us, I'm going to ask my guys to make plays even when we face some pretty good corners out there, and for JC, I saw him just really just challenging things on a down in and down out basis, and that's exactly right. He should feel that confidence. He's long, he's fast, he's aggressive. He's got a great mind, a competitive mind where he understands concepts and things that are happening. And, I loved watching him in the aggressive style that he played with yesterday.
Sweet, thank you.
Yep.
We'll end things with Mike K.
Hey, Dave. Good
Hey, Mike.
afternoon. When the schedule came out, you were pretty positive about the late bye week. And, a lot of people had their opinions, but I'm just curious, in hindsight, you brought it up last night, how the rookies were ready to play because of that bye week and getting their body right. But how beneficial was that late bye week in earnest now that you've blown past it and you've had a couple of games since?
Yeah, I try to look at opportunities, and we don't get to choose when that happens. And the opportunity it presented us is a chance to finish strong at the end and to get something back into the tank for the finish. And, that's happening for us, right now. And also knowing that it was a long season going week in and week out and making modifications to our plan, understanding we're playing every Sunday, one after the other, with the Monday night there as well. But, there were certainly challenges that came with that. But then there was also just if we can play good enough football to where we're playing these types of meaningful games, this thing will help us. And it has. It's given us time for guys to get back out there, and it's given guys a little bit more in the tank for the finish. So we're really fortunate at this point, to be able to be feeling, the effects of that in a positive way.
And then the Pro Bowl announcements are coming out tomorrow. I'm sure you're going to hear much earlier than that. What's your approach beyond just telling the guys individually, and how do you try to get the team maybe in on the celebration?
Yeah, we'll announce it as a group, and we'll celebrate that together. And the reason we like to do that is because while certain guys may get recognition, it's always going to come down to this was a team effort. And when you win games, you get notoriety, and we see that happen around the league where teams that are dominating during a season end up having more players make the Pro Bowl, and the success comes with it. But it's like everybody's tied into it. Everybody had a part of it, and then certainly the guys have to go out there and make their plays. But yeah, we celebrate it together. We celebrate it as a group, and it's not a huge focus of what we're doing, to be honest. But it is something to celebrate, and we really appreciate those moments.